Hello and good day. Today's footage to review comes from the 11th of September. Spent some time. This shot is beginning about the middle of the house site, and then facing east, which is where the septic field is mapped to go, along with where the carport is mapped to go. The plan is that the carport will be basically back straight back from where I'm currently pulling up some of the shrubs and pushing them further down the hill. And then the driveway will, for the regular use, will actually wrap around kind of behind our pavilion area a little bit and connect to the rest of the driveway. We'll see how things go when we get over there, and when we actually get the septic system tested and hopefully designed in the not too distant future. But for now, I got tired of digging the dirt and had to do something else, at least for a little bit. So I went and pulled down a few of the smaller trees and dug a little bit of the road over there. And again, a reminder: this is actually a old skid road for when they harvested. This is where they brought a lot of the trees down across the property. And I don't really know. It doesn't actually go down anywhere. So I think what they did is they built this. They cut this road in all the way to the east side of the property, and then they would take the logs all the way to the west side of the property, which used to be combined with several other parcels, and then take them out on the highway over there. But I'm not actually sure about that, because I can only drive this road so far, basically, west, and then I'm not on our property anymore, and I can only get so far east as of this. There is some heavy overgrowth or undergrowth or whatever here that I have to work through and pull out, and then it does clear up and actually become mostly blackberry brambles, which will be its own fun challenge to work my way through. But we'll see how that plays out after I get a little bit further progress on the rest of the house site. The plan for today, after I finish up here, is that I'm gonna put the box blade on and go actually smooth out all of the areas that we've leveled and hopefully essentially get a finished grade, which will be what the inspector will come back out and look at again. And then next step will be to start bucking up all of the trees that I've cut. And then I can finish the actual transition from the main driveway over to the hill. But that's going to be its own challenge, because it's supposed to start raining a little bit tonight and a little bit tomorrow, and then basically it's going to rain pretty much non-stop until like April. Because we'll be in the winter rains here. So I'm really feeling a time crunch to try and get this to where we can basically, if we get the inspector to approve it and say that yes, we're good to go for what they need for the house, then at that point I can start bringing rock in and that way it won't matter what the weather's like, because we'll have a layer of rock down that we can actually drive on. And whenever the house gets delivered at that point, then we're good to go. I'm hoping that that will also allow the county to come in and do their inspection for the septic approval and design and whatever they need. But I've got to have access to that spot, so that's why I wanted to try and get this little bit of road cleared out a little bit further. And then if I understand their process correctly, what'll happen is they'll come out. I'm going to dig basically a 6-foot hole in the ground, and then they're going to evaluate that and look at the soil types and content and whatever, and we'll see where we need to go with that. That'll be a big step and a big relief once it's done. But one of the things that I still need to widen this in the footage here. I've got the length done, obviously, but I've got about a little over half of the width done. When I originally talked to them, they said they needed the size of the home plus 10 feet on every side. So basically, roughly 40 feet by 70 feet. And I'm about 30 feet across for the flattish area. So I've got another 10 feet to go. When he came out, though, because of the steepness of the hill, he said I needed another 10 feet to account for the distance that was going to be needed for decks and deck requirements, and also for retaining wall requirements. So as of today, the pad is about 55 feet wide and 70 feet long. So we should hopefully be good to go. Where the tractor is sitting right now in this footage is where the measurement starts, and there's actually about 20 or 30 feet west of that, behind the tractor, that is mostly usable. If we had to, we could, because that was actually built as part of the trailer ramp. So where I've been driving up to this area is to the left of the dirt pile that I'm making right now, and it's a fairly steep hill. It's probably a 35% incline. It's steep enough that you can drive on it, but it's definitely pretty steep. There's no way a tractor could do that, and that was one of the things that I knew I would have to work on, was to make this to make a spot where the trailers would actually be able to easily drive up on, because they're 58 feet for the home, and then there's a 4-foot tongue attachment on it that will need to be counted for as well. So the end result, I should probably take a tape measure out there and actually measure it today, but I bet it's probably close to 120 feet long, and it starts out about 14 feet wide, which is the minimum requirement. But then as it widens out towards the house site, I built that up enough that when you get up here to the house site, they'll be able to actually use that driveway space to turn and shift for the two different halves of the house. So it widens up to about 35, maybe even 40 feet wide, and then there's still the little sharp driveway that I can use for like if I'm coming up with the tractor and I don't need the shallow. But the nice part is when it gets done, until we actually get the carport, we'll have a gravel spot that we can at least park next to the house. So that'll be pretty convenient. But at the moment, what I'm doing is just, as always seems to be the need, to just digging down into the hill and then pushing that off, or pulling that off, scooping it over to the side, and then I'll work my way all the way down this row, and just keep digging across, and then I'll go back and scoop up all the dirt that I've collected there and loosened, and spread that around wherever I need. One of the challenges that we do face is compaction. The clay breaks up a lot, so the soil content here, this breaks up into a really fine powdery loose soil, which is great for like moving around and smoothing and things like that, until it gets wet, of course, because then it just turns into a soppy muck. But once it gets compacted down, it'll be a fairly hard pack again. You can see here, kind of at the bottom center of the screen, there's a section that I didn't actually dig, and so when I scraped the box or the bucket across it, it just left a very flat, smooth finish. Eventually, this will all return to that type of a state. We don't have any kind of a compactor yet, so the weight of the tractor on the tires is pretty much the only way we have to compact this at the moment. So I just keep driving around up there and smashing it down, and it works to a degree, but we're counting on the rain taking a pretty big toll on that, because as the rain soaks down into that, it'll help push everything down so that when it dries in the spring, it'll actually be as compacted as we need. But we might, if we need to, we might rent some kind of steamroller type, drivable compaction, just to be on the super safe side that everything is actually compacted down as much as it needs to be. But at that point, there will be a layer of gravel as well that we'll be using that to do the finish leveling and making sure that everything is actually completely flat. But we've got it pretty close right now. That's one of the things I'm hoping to get done tonight. Like I said, I'll take the box blade up, but I have one of the connections for the 3-point hitch was bent, and I took it off so I could try and bend it back into place. I was going to heat it up with a blowtorch and bend it back, but I seem to have misplaced that, so Emily had to run to the Kubota dealer, and the part that we need apparently is out of stock, so we were either going to have to drive like 4 hours south to somewhere in Oregon to get the one that's in stock, or have them ship it up here, which was, they were saying, was going to come from a warehouse, so it was going to be like a week and a half before it got here. Turns out they technically had what was in stock as part of a package for something else. So we were able to get the part. Cost a little bit more, but she'll be on her way home to bring that over so I can get that going, and we'll get some footage of that. We'll see where we're at. So that'll be the joys that we have today. The hope is to just be able to get that done before it rains, because once it starts to rain, it gets pretty mucky pretty quick up there. We've had a few, small rainstorms, but nothing enough to actually soak into the soil and turn it into the muddy mess that it will become. So we shall see, but yeah, one of the fun things about this particular time was that we had my granddaughter up here, and we discovered that she was particularly entertained by Emily playing fetch with Charlie. So she would kick the ball, Charlie would fetch the ball and bring it back, and our little granddaughter had quite the thoroughly enjoyable time. So we're going to switch to some footage of that.
Here it comes. Yeah.
Because, who doesn't love hearing a little baby giggle like that? So, anyway, that's where we'll end it for today. As always, thank you for watching. God bless you and yours, and I hope you're safe and healthy out there.